Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. So, the next hour is going to be very insightful for all of us. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and let us speak about today's topic. So, today, this is going to be an exclusive webinar where we are going to talk about trends, challenges, and the opportunities in the health insurance industry for education and immigration agents. And before welcoming our guest, let us go through what are we going through in this flow. So we will welcome our chief guest, Mr. Deepak Bharadwaj. After that, we will be talking about the health needs of insurance students, speaking about trends, challenges, and opportunities for education and immigration agents. We'll be discussing some live case studies and question and answer sessions, and then we'll conclude the session by closing this webinar. So please join with me to welcome our guest, Mr. Deepak Bharadwaj. He's a seasoned profession, over 10 years of experience in healthcare and the education and the insurance industry. As a country manager for NIB Australia, Deepak oversees all the operations, strategic initiatives, and business development efforts in the region. With a deep understanding of both the healthcare landscape and insurance sector, Deepak and NIB team in India are committed to providing unparalleled services to the clients and the policyholders. Deepak also holds a degree in engineering and has a proven track records driving growth and fostering strong partnership in dynamic healthcare market. So welcome Deepak, welcome on our platform of KONZE. And now handing over to you. You may please take over the session. Thank you, Deepak.
Thanks. Thanks for the lovely introduction. And I'll just share my screen. Just let me know if you're able to sort of see my screen. And I'll sort of start off. Are you able to see my screen okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
great.
Everyone, people, you may just give a thumbs up in the chat if you are able to see the screen. Yes, Deepak, we can start.
Cool. Thank you. Thanks for the lovely introduction, Dharmestha. As Dharmestha mentioned, I'm the country manager for India for NIB Health. Before I really jump on to what NIB is, NIB Snapshot, just want to sort of thank KONZE for getting us in this session. We've had a relationship with KONZE for about five years now, and we're not just seeing this as a transactional relationship, we're seeing this as a true partnership. Although we individually want to grow both the businesses, but we also see a lot of mutual values. We are also in the process educating agents around health insurance and indirectly also sort of improving the quality of counseling to students around OSHC. Traditionally, agents have been sort of pushing us that this is the insurance, just get there, and the students hardly know where they land up in Australia. So now I think with the partnership, what we've been able to do is sort of get to the agents and also sort of improve the quality of the counseling around health insurance as a subject itself. Just jumping on to who NIB is, a lot of people might be aware of NIB, some might not be. So NIB, we are a publicly listed company based out of Australia. We've been in the business for about 70 plus years. We are also one of the largest private health insurance companies in Australia. So we insure more than 1.5 million Australians on their private health cover. And we also insure at any given time more than 200,000 overseas international students and workers. We have been awarded, it's noteworthy that we've been awarded CANSTAR awards for almost 6 years in a row between 2016 to 21. And we also have diverse teams located across different regions, which includes China, India, New Zealand, etc. Another important thing we do is, especially in the last few years, the importance of cybersecurity with the increase in cyber attacks has been, data protection of international students. So we've sort of built strong capabilities around that to ensure, your students' data is well protected. That's something that we do too. Now, why NIB? In simple terms, we offer really competitive rates, especially for single students. Our pricing is extremely competitive as compared to some of the other providers in the market. We also have a fully funded virtual health, which will sort of cover telehealth, which I'll go through in more detail as we go through the presentation. Our international students also get access to Silver Cloud, which is a digital mental health program, which again I'll touch base upon later during the presentation. We also have a multifunctional NIB app, which is probably best in class in the market, which is a prime technology through which we deliver our services to the international students. Now, we are a health insurance company, yes. But I think a few years back, we sort of realized that it's not just good enough to pay the bills for the students, but we also we have a responsibility towards enhancing their lives in general. So we're sort of moving away from just being a company which just pays the bills in hospitals and actually building our health management capabilities. And for that, we needed to first understand what are the needs of the students, and then, sort of deliver services that the student actually needs. So among the health needs of the students, there are 4 key pillars that we identified. First was the everyday healthcare that they need, now visiting doctors or GPs from a day-to-day perspective. We also sort of looked at our data and sort of identified that skin health and mental health is a big need, and we need to probably come up with some services around that. The second major pillar was critical care, which is to do with unplanned admissions, accidents, etc., and also pregnancies, etc. The third need that we primarily identified was around social acceptance, mental well-being, especially when there's a major culture shock when a new student lands into Australia. So we did identify that there's something that we need to do in this area. And the fourth key pillar was access and decision support. So when a student lands in, and first thing is they need to identify what do they actually need. What level of care do I need? Do I have an issue? If I have an issue, how do I access that issue? So we sort of identified that these were the 4 key pillars or needs for international students, and based on that, we sort of designed our services to look after the international students. It is data driven, and it's exactly what the student sort of needs. And often international students have unique needs, and that's why we sort of created this multi-layer pillars through which we deliver our services. Now, first thing is, if I take myself as an example, if I'm an international student land into Australia, now I'm able to do my health risk assessment. So I can do a self-assessment of my health status while I'm in Australia. And once I've assessed that, I can also access primary care, which is access to GPs through different zones. So I can physically go to a doctor, but I can also have a virtual telehealth consult with a GP. For NIB has one of the largest network of doctors in Australia. So we've got about 4,500 GPs who are basically networked with us directly. What I can also do is, once I've done my health check, I go to the doctor. I can also order my prescriptions online, which we do through virtual forms. So you can pretty much order online prescriptions and get it delivered to your door. And we also provide access to mental health programs and health support programs as well for the students. And what we're also sort of moving into, and what we're also doing very well now, is to have predict, see who the high-risk patients are, and then deliver the service accordingly. If we do sort of see that a student's particularly going through a specific problem, so for example, depression, then we promote our mental health service. So it's not just sort of, like I said before, not just about providing bills, but also to ensure that we prevent the student from getting into that issue as well. So it's an old saying, prevention is better than cure. So we not just want to sort of cure the student, we also want to prevent the student from getting the issue in the first place. So getting back to the basics of what does OSHC generally cover. OSHC is a regulated product by the government in Australia. So pretty much all the OSHC providers, you would find the coverage is very similar. All the OSHC will cover you for hospitals, which includes contracted private hospitals, public hospitals, etc. We'll also cover you for your doctor visits. We'll cover you for your outpatient services, including pathology, radiology, etc. We'd also cover for you for emergency ambulance, and also prescription medicines. What does OSHC does not cover you for? It includes services like dental, opticals, cosmetic surgeries, etc. Now, that's common among all the OSHC providers. And there's also a 12-month waiting period for pregnancies. This is just the basic of what OSHC actually covers. Now, how do we sort of deliver the services? I did touch upon this. We do rely massive on technology to deliver the services. Just before I take you through the NIB app, I just want to play a quick 1-minute video. Sort of showcases what students get access to through our technology.
With the NIB app, your health is in your
So, Mr. Can you also confirm you can hear the audio in there?
Yes, I
hands.
hear you.
It's bursting with innovative features and services that will help you live health first. Let's take a look. Complete a quick and simple health check for personalised insights and resources that will help guide your health journey. Take our skin health assessment to understand your skin health, identify potential risks, and monitor changes in your skin over time. If you need to see a doctor fast, simply book a telehealth session with NIB's network of qualified Australian-based GPs. You can also get your prescriptions delivered to your door. Enjoy exclusive access to SilverCloud, a digital mental health and wellbeing platform that promotes positive behaviour change and mental wellness. Plus, the NIB app has all the essential tools you need to get the most out of your health cover. Access your digital membership card, snap a photo and submit a claim, see your remaining extras limits, and check what you're covered for. Plus, access the latest deals and discounts from NIB Rewards. Your health journey starts right here with the NIB app. Download today and kickstart your better health and well-being.
So, that was just a bit of an gist of what NIB offers via the app.
Hello, Moto.
Also,
Oh,
of course, shut it down. Okay, cool. So it's basic gist of what NIB provides through its app. Now, so one thing that we always sort of, tell our agents, tell our partners when we meet is, please do, advise your sort of counselors to, download the app before they actually go. The app is available through Android and App Store, and can be easily downloaded. And like you saw in the video, the number of services that we provide through that, a student get access to digital health card through the app as well. And they can get all the details around, what their cover is, what does it cover them for, etc. It also gives them access to NIB rewards program, which would typically give them discounts for groceries, 10% discount on groceries, on movie tickets, etc. And app also gives them access to our, digital and digital mental health programs. It'll also crucially tell them, who our preferred network of providers are. So if a student is around a specific suburb in Australia, they can actually look for the preferred doctors around that area and actually book an appointment on the app. And they can also book telehealth appointments in the app itself. If the student were to pay for a specific bill, a GP bill or a pathology bill, all they need to do is basically take a photo of the receipt and upload it on the app, and the claims are paid within 5 business days. So the number of things that we do provide via the app. So strongly encourage that any of the students that do take up NIB, strongly encourage you to ask them to download our app. Claiming, like I said, I probably touched on this subject before. Typically, like I said, if the student does happen to pay for a specific service, all they need to do is just download the app, take a photo of the receipt, upload it on the app itself, and the claims are paid within 5 business days. Now, virtual health is something that I did speak about touched upon before. Especially post-COVID, it's become extremely popular now in the health insurance industry. Now, for a simple cold and cough, students often take up this service where you can book a virtual consult with the doctor. As you can see below, students can actually get access to the doctor's calendars and actually book an appointment on the app. When they do that, they actually get an email back with the confirmation with a video link. So at that time, the doctor is there, and you can do a virtual consult with the doctor as well. It's something that's been taken pretty well, and we provide that through our partner 24/7 Medicare. They can also get their prescriptions delivered to their door, and they can also get access to doctors who are no out of pocket and were part of our network preferred providers. So this is for anything simple cough, fever. You can pretty much just use this and service. Next, Silver Cloud. This is something that I sort of touched upon before too. It is a service that we've been providing to the students for a good few years now. We invested more than $1 million to bring Silver Cloud into NIB. They get access to online resources around different subjects, including depression, anxiety, etc. What they can also get through NIB is direct access to counselors. So basically, we'd ask the students a list of triaging questions, and based on their need, they can also get access to a direct counselor to talk to if they need to. So there are a number of services. Like I said, we don't just do pay the bills. We don't just provide OSHC. We also do a lot of value adds and more. We are sort of moving more towards being a health management company than just a health insurance company. So we're looking at a student and servicing a student from a 360-degree point of view and not just paying their bills. So that was it from me. I just want to keep it really brief and focus on the important sort of, points. And Mr. I'll probably leave this with you. I'll probably leave you to take over from here.
Yeah, thank you, Deepak. Thank you so much for all the insights. And I'm pretty sure that agents who are well focused with the visa and their core business, our objective is to bring some of the more information, added value to their business by inviting such guests and adding the knowledge to our agents and updating them with the trends, challenges, and the opportunities of the insurance industry. Let me just take over this and let me share my screen so that we can just cover up the next few parts. We will just start up with the question and answer session. Just give me a minute while I just share my screen. Okay, so as I told you that at KONZE, we are always available here to help you out with the new updates of the industry. We have several products, and out of which one of them is a Compare, where we are committed to help you out with the best insurance industry knowledge. And we are a platform where we provide a comprehensive portal where agents can compare the insurance and they can compare and purchase the different health insurance providers or OSHC and OVHC and earn good commissions on it. And coming up to some of the regular challenges that are faced with our agents, I also invite all the audience to come up with their questions, whatever they are facing day to day. And we have Deepak over here, so he will also, with the valuable insight, he will add to it. Okay, so while some of the questions those come up from the agents, let me put forward some common case studies that we are getting these days. The admissions get denied and they apply for refund. They do not have any withdrawal letter or a visa letter. So in such case, what is a document that is required for the refund?
Basically, we would ask for a cancelled COE. When that happens, we either ask for a cancelled COE or we ask for the future COE if they're especially deferring their course. The system does allow, in fact, the Compare system does allow you to sort of put through date changes via your system itself. So you can date change. So if somebody is deferring from Feb to July, you can do that. You can do a date change. You can also apply for a refund. If you're applying for the refund, yes, we do ask for a cancelled COE from the university or a declaration of letter from the student as a supporting document. So you can upload that with the refund form, and we do provide the refunds back.
Okay, great. And as you said, yes, most of the common queries are deferring the intake and deferring the dates. Compare is one of the platform where agents can easily defer the dates with, we can help them out to do that. One of the question is, say there are people in Australia who move from study visa to work visa. Okay, and they need to change the insurance type. So, and as NIB is a provider which provides both OHHC and OVHC, so can you just help us out to give some insights about OHHC and OVHC to our audience, please?
Yeah, sure. I mean, so when a student moves from an OSHC to OVHC, yes, we do offer OVHC. They move to 485s typically. Now the payments work slightly differently, whereas when OSHC you pay upfront, for OVHC you can choose to pay monthly or quarterly. So yeah, and the payment basically auto debits. That's how OSHC and OVHC works. But yes, I mean, compare, we do have both the products, and both the products can be sort of, bought from your platform. So can be brought on the platform, and typically a student during a bridging visa, when they're sort of bridged from an OSHC to an OVHC, they're actually covered by OSHC during that period, because that's basically the student visa that they held. So they're covered by OSHC during that transition period. But OVHC, we've got some really, really good products there. The coverage is different. It depends on the level of cover that a student wants. Policy typically starts from $70 a month to, it can go up to, $110. So depending on the level of cover the student chooses.
Oh, okay. And how about the waiting period? And some of the people, they are very concerned about the pregnancy benefits and the pre-existing diseases. So those are also carry forward, is it?
That's correct. The waiting periods will be transferred automatically. So as long as there's no gap in the cover. So if I'm transitioning from an OSHC to OVHC, I need to make sure that I've held insurance during that period. Like I said, even during the bridging visa, OSHC covers the student. The day the student is granted their 485, their OVHC kicks in. So until then, it's the OSHC that basically covers them during that period.
Okay, so there is a question over here from one of our agents. They are asking, isn't the OSHC end at time of the student's visa expiry? So why is the cover be OSHC? They are asking that what is the in short, what is the if you can help us, that what is the end date of the OSHC which is suggested?
So the OSHC, as suggested, is by the typical 2-year course, it's 2 months after the course ends. So it's generally for a 2-year course, they would typically take a 26-month cover. Like OVHC, if the visa grant, gets delayed of the OVHC, the student will still be covered by OSHC, like I said, because it is the student visa that he held prior. So that OSHC will cover him for that. Let's say if there's a period where there's overlap, they can always move the OVHC dates later and adjust the payments accordingly.
Okay, got it. So I think as per the regulations, whatever current visa subclass is the student is into, in order to claim the benefits, they need to have the relevant insurance, isn't it?
That's right. And there was a question that isn't the OSHC end of time of student visa expiry, so why is the cover to be on OSHC? That's because even during a bridging visa, you're considered to be on a student visa because that's the one that you held prior. It's part of the fund rules document. So you can actually look at, if you type in on Google NIB OSHC fund rules, you can actually see that on the fund rules as well. So it's part of the rules that, you would be covered by the insurance depending on the visa type you held prior. So even if there's a bridging period, you still will be covered by the OSHC during the bridging visa period. And it's part of the fund rules as well. There's been a few questions that have come through. I think somebody asked, is a skilled OVHC serves for skilled workers? Yes, it does. It serves for skilled workers too. And
they are also asking that what is the OVHC date? Is it the date after the expiry of student visa to be taken?
No. So OVHC kicks in. They generally ask OVHC by when you're lodging the application, 485 application. But the OVHC kicks in the day the new visa type is granted. So if my OVHC is granted tomorrow, my 485 is granted tomorrow, my OVHC kicks in from that date. But until today, I'm actually covered by OSHC, although I'm on a bridging visa.
Okay, one more question is here. If a student has approved leave of absence of the semester for 6 months or more, so how about the suspension of the policy? Is the policy suspended, or how can they carry on with this if they are not in the country, Australia, for more than 6 months?
Yeah, unfortunately, we have no control over that until the time the student holds the student visa. They are supposed to be on OSHC cover because there's no control. The student could come back in 2 months or 3 months. So unfortunately, no, it can't be suspended. But it's basically there for the period of unless the student decides to go permanently. Then yes, they can apply for a refund. But if it's a temporary thing, we cannot. We cannot suspend it during the transition.
Okay. Now we have got a question from one of our guests. If they are transferring from OVHC to OHHC, which is the cover to be maintained during the bridging visa period?
OVHC.
Yes, from OVHC to OHHC. So, which is during bridging visa. So, what I think that when they are when they are applying for OHHC application, they needs to have the insurance which covers the start date, orientation date, and the end date of the OHHC for the visa application. Correct?
Correct. They will, and until they're granted their new student visa again, they will be covered by OVHC, even if it's a bridging visa. It's vice versa too. If they're moving from OSHC to OVHC, until they're granted the OVHC, they'll be basically protected by the OSHC, and the other way around. From OVHC to OSHC, until they granted the student visa, they'll be covered by OVHC.
Correct. Now, see, there are a lot of questions that I see coming up for the bridging visa. So let me just add a bit to it, that when the student is in bridging visa, there is no particular different health insurance for it. Student needs to maintain the health insurance which their past visa subclass is. For example, if a student is into OHHC, that is student visa subclass, they need to maintain the OHHC insurance. And if they were into 485 working visa subclass, then they need to maintain the OVHC. Okay, until and unless their next visa is approved. There comes a decision for the next visa subclass. In case if the previous visa subclass has expired, okay, and the new visa subclass is not granted, so that period is considered as a bridging visa. And in bridging visa, in case if any of the candidate, if any of the client, they they claims anything, if they have the relevant visa to the previous visa subclass, the claims will be approved, right? So, Deepak, would you like to add anything here in this? Am I correct?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. That's the way it is. That's the way the fund rules are made as well. Please do be this thing that we are running a pilot program at this point of time where OVHC will also be so you can buy both OVHC and OSHC, but which can be done by a Conpam portal anyway now. So. But yes, that's absolutely correct. To your point, Mr. It's absolutely correct. That's the way it works.
Okay, great. So there are also many question and answers coming up from the agents. So I would just like to inform that there is a Compare platform where we have the experts of the insurance industry, as well as we also have providers, that is NIBs, of course one of the prominent providers. So we do get the guidance from NIB and we are at your help. So people whose questions are not covered here, they can definitely reach.
There's a question there I can address. If the somebody asked if
the student visa has expired,
if a student wants to change from other health coverage provider to NIB for OVHC or OSHC, what about waiting period? Yes, the waiting period will be carried forward. It will be carried forward irrespective of the providers. People can move in from any other provider to NIB and vice versa, from NIB to any other provider. Waiting period will move forward. As long as there's no gap in the cover, the waiting period will transfer.
Okay, great. That was a good insight. Okay, and one more. If the student visa has expired, okay, I think we have covered this.
And they will maintain OVHC during bridging. This is illegal. They need to serve waiting period. No, they don't need to serve waiting period again. And there's nothing. It's just a requirement of immigration that you do have OVHC, because they could grant an OVHC in a couple of days or they could take a month. So that's why they do ask that you are covered. But you can adjust the dates and payments accordingly, according to the date that the new visa was approved. So if the student visa has expired and they are on an OSHC also expired, OSHC should not expire. OSHC should, you should still hold the OSHC. You got to extend the OSHC during that period.
Okay.
So yes, as long as that happens, the waiting period will be applied. It can be carried forward.
Okay, there is a good question coming up here. Okay, actually, we have also seen that people in Australia, if the client applying for student extension and the primary student is becoming a subsequent student, he should apply for the new OHHC. He can add it in the wife OHHC. So there are cases when there are couple covers where the primary applicant then switches to the main primary applicant. They apply for a study visa. So in that case, if you can just help us with some insights.
So what was the exact question there? Sorry,
it's from Nikita.
Okay, and primary student is becoming the subsequent student visa. Client is applying for a student extension. The primary student is becoming the subsequent student visa.
This is also actually one of the actually what happens is, first of all, they buy a copper cover, and husband is, for example, husband is the primary applicant, and while the student visa is get expired or it is on the verge of expiry, wife is applying for a study and she becomes a primary applicant. So I think this is something that Nikita wants to ask.
Yeah, I mean, look, if they are both, the primary fundamental is, if they're both student visa holders, they can have two single covers. But if one is a dependent and one is a primary student, then the dependent has to be on a couple's cover. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I think that answers the question. That if both are on the independent student visas, then they can have two single policies. Or if one of them is the dependent, then whosoever is the primary applicant, their name needs to be on the main applicant. Got it.
And also bring in Ashish, the Mr. Ashish from NIB is, I think, should be in the session too. Ash, if you want to come in and probably address any of the questions, please feel free to. Ashish is my colleague who's based in Australia, who also manages some of our strategic sort of relationships. I think he's part of the session, so please feel free to come in, Ash.
Yeah, hi Ashish. Yeah, actually Ashish has been a very good help. So whenever we have our clients asking out the queries, we rush out to Ashish and he gives us some good insights of NIB. Yes, Ashish, can you hear me?
Ashish, are you online? That's absolutely fine. We can go through and Ashish can enjoy that if he needs to.
Yeah, no problem.
Was there any other questions that I haven't addressed? Sorry,
terminate the old policy and restart a new policy using the money in the account. Well, Philip, I'm sorry, but the question is not yet so clear. But I can understand that terminating the old policy and restarting the new policy can be possible anytime. But whenever there is an existing policy and the details matches with any of the existing policy, there is also an option where we can extend the same policy, right? And they can also start a new one in case if they are looking out for a new one after they apply for a refund of the old one. Then anytime I think the new policy is possible, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they can change provider. I mean, the only thing that they have to be cognizant of is the fact that there's no gap in the cover. During their period of, student visa, they've got to hold OSHC. And during the bridging visa, if they're moving from, that's the only thing they need to be cognizant of. There's no gap in the cover. But they can move providers, they can sort of start new policies, then that's possible as long as there's no gap in the cover. I think I didn't clearly get the question, but I hope sort of.
Okay, so are there any more questions coming up? Otherwise, we can.
There's one question that Gloria was. I think there's Gloria saying my question regarding OSHC during bridging visa if OVHC has been paid. So yes, I mean. That's right. OVHC has been paid, but it's paid because it's a requirement of immigration, like it happens offshore. Although I mean, typically agents offshore, start their OSHC, 15 days prior to the course start date, but the visas are granted later. The payments can always be adjusted, but unfortunately, it's part of the rules. Gloria, I think you sort of asked this question before that. Yeah, what we can do is adjust the OVHC payment so they don't lose any money in the interim. We can actually adjust the payment and align it to the date that the new visa was granted. So the student does not lose money on that. We can adjust the dates accordingly. You can also unmute and ask, I'm assuming. If you want to unmute and ask, please do feel free to ask.
Yes. And one more thing, Ashish, these days I have seen that people are, visiting Australia on 600 visa subclass. And once they come here in Australia, after that, they apply for the student OHHC. So in those cases, we have some of the cases coming up like, their OHHC is yet not granted. They are here in Australia on 600 visa subclass and applying for the claims. Okay, so can you just help me out with this particular situation or case study? How are the claims? They need to have the insurance for 600 visa subclass, or will the claims considered for OHHC while they have yet not applied for, yet the decision is pending?
No, the insurance will be based on the visa that they hold. So if they are on a tourist visa, they've got to hold OVHC, and OVHC is what will cover them for the insurance. If they're transitioning from a tourist visa to a student visa as well, but they don't hold the student visa yet. So again, it's the same philosophy again, same principle. It kicks in the day their student visa is granted.
Okay.
What I'll also do is, I will send a link to the fund rules documents. So it's for people, having any queries and stuff. When you have a few minutes, please do, encourage them to go through, the fund rules. It's a detailed document, but it answers a lot of the questions around what, why, etc.
Okay, thank you, Deepak. Thank you for the session, and it was great insights. Okay, I appreciate your time, and thank you everyone for joining us. Okay, and spending some time with us. I hope this session was very insightful, and you all might have enjoyed it. So we will just end up this session over here. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining. Okay.
Thank you everyone. Thanks for your time. Thanks for having me here, Dharmastha.